Business support organizations or BSOs are vital to the success of small businesses across the Caribbean. Equally, those small businesses seeking support under the Caribbean Export Development Agency's Direct Assistance Scheme must be registered. Senior Grant Advisor at Caribbean Export, Kirk drove home the point at CARIFORUM's recent regional meeting of business support organizations in Kingston.
We have had this direct assistance scheme, and we've basically focused on entities or individuals or organizations that are legally registered in CARIFORUM states. So that will continue. Therefore, if you're not registered, I can't help you, or we can't help you. It's important for you to have a registered business, and of course you must be operating in one of the CARIFORUM member states, not just having a shell company, being operational, all right? Now, the direct assistance scheme was always a unique facility in that it was very comprehensive in terms of its, let's say, the types of activities that could be funded. And it was not designed in such a way that depending on which sector you happen to be a part of, that you would be limited to do certain activities. In other words, it's quite open. The challenge with that, though, is, and the reality is, that a lot of firms, a lot of individuals, a lot of BSOs still do not know what it is they want to do.
Brown emphasized that the direct assistance scheme was not a wish list.
It's not a time to go Christmas shopping, which some people, you can tell by the style of the application what it is they're writing. There is really no forward thinking. It's just a dead-end project, and when you look on what they're proposing or they're requesting funding for, there is no linkage between the designated activity, how it will benefit them, and the actual items in the budget don't even relate to, let us say, validating the results of the project. But having said that, the direct assistance scheme will continue to be a comprehensive, let me say, facility in the sense that it will allow a firm to do what is necessary for them to become more competitive. I won't get into a definition of competitiveness because that itself could take all day. Likewise, I won't get into innovation, but as I'm pretty sure all aware, innovation is anything that deals with product development, improving a product, developing or improving an existing product, and other things as well, which I'll show in the slide. But I've just given you a list of areas here which you can cover. And certainly this is not limited by this list here. Again, it's based on what you present in your application. Now, under the 9th EDF, which we're closing off, Caribbean Export awarded about 2.6 million euros to firms across the region. And that is to say that at least one firm from each member state of the 15 member states has actually received a grant. Of course, we have had a number of challenges, as it has been mentioned earlier, in terms of the global economic crisis. A lot of firms that had a lot of cash at first, when they applied, realized that as the grant was awarded to them and we signed a contract for them to implement their activities, they had difficulties actually implementing the grant. What complicated that further was also I would say, the lack of understanding of our financial institutions of what it is we're trying to do.
The Senior Caribbean Export Development Agency's grant advisor says the organization is seeking to increase the awareness of Caribbean financial institutions to get them to support its grant program.
We have had some, I'd say, relative success by convincing banks here in Jamaica, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in St. Lucia to some extent, of understanding, and Grenada, about what the grant is, and indicating that it's a formal contract between Caribbean Export and the beneficiary, whereby if you spend X amount of dollars, we will reimburse once it meets the criteria. Now, what is quite alarming is our disbursements. You notice that we have committed about 2.6 million, and of course this program closes off in June of this year. The challenge we're having is, the primary challenge is this: people just do not have adequate or proper documentation. We have actually, let us say, overcome the obstacle of persons not writing successful applications. As has been mentioned by Vincent earlier and other members here, Caribbean Export has partnered with almost everybody here to some extent, either training them in proposal writing. We've done that in Antigua. We've actually done that with the Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority. So there are officers there that are fully aware and capable of helping persons to write applications. Sorry, touched the wrong screen. Okay. Now, we have learned that from the second call, which we had in February 2009, the success rate of grants or grants being awarded has significantly increased. It was even better in the third call, having done all of this training throughout the region. To date, we've probably trained in excess of about 660 persons throughout all 15 member states. Now, the challenge with that is this. We train somebody, for instance, in GIDC in Grenada, the Grenada Industrial Development Corporation, not that this has happened, but that officer leaves. We don't know where that officer is, but that person is well trained and capable, and we find that happening a lot in the region. We may have a partnership with another entity, that person moves on but doesn't communicate that to Caribbean Export. We certainly would like you to communicate where you're going, because then we would have access to you and also allow you to sell your services, if necessary, to persons to write proposals, because that is also another challenge. You know, while we do believe in training persons, the turnover seems to be quite high, and I know that's a sustainable issue. But we certainly, in going forward, this is one of the other things that we would like to do, is to train persons to actually help beneficiaries to prepare their claims for reimbursement, because we do business in the Caribbean completely differently from anywhere else in the world. I know some of you in here, and because you know me, Kirk, you'll say, boy, just give me a cost. You don't get a quotation, you don't have a formal contract, and the truth is with the European Union, if it hasn't been documented, it did not occur.
The March 28 forum put on by the Caribbean Export Development Agency and the European Union had much information that small export-oriented businesses need to have. Information which we will continue to disseminate in our quest to help the development of entrepreneurship and private endeavor. For Your Wealth, I'm Owen James.